Redskins fans, including this one, are hoping for a better game this Sunday in Detroit. They're taking on the Lions at Ford Field, fresh off last Sunday's not-so-celebrated win over the Rams. Let's go live to the Sports Junkies on 106.7 FM, The Fan, EB, Cakes, Lurch, JP. How you doing, guys?
What's up, T-Perk? Not so celebrated is very diplomatic, by the way. I mean, we've been killing the Redskins for the 9-7 win over the St. Louis Rams.
T-Perk, what'd you think watching that game? That was dreadful, wasn't it?
It was dreadful. I mean, I like the offense moving down the field, of course, and the defense did well, but you got to score points on the Rams. Not being able to get a touchdown is just horrible, and this team continues to show that they haven't progressed in any way since last year.
Well, that's where I'll differ because, Tony, you mentioned it right there. They did move the ball between the 20s. So, I mean, they obviously have the ability to move the football. It's just a matter of punching it in. And
they scored 9 points, Eric. How many times can they do this?
But they moved the football, and I actually think it's just gotten to the point now where it's in their heads. It's like a psychological thing.
It's a mental block.
Yeah, but they moved the football against the Rams.
Right.
Right.
They didn't do that against the Giants.
You're supposed to move the football against the Rams.
Exactly. So my point is, it's not like they were doing that, against the Giants, against a good defense. They weren't marching up and down the field against them.
Most people won't do that against the Giants.
They can't lose to Detroit. I'm sorry. They just can't.
I agree. If they lose to Detroit, Zorn should just stay there and just hop on a Greyhound to Seattle.
I mean, wasn't he the quarterback's coach at one point in Detroit for a season?
Yes.
So might as well stay in Detroit. If you lose in Detroit, stay in Detroit.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Beautiful city.
Let me ask you a question. It's a beautiful city. If Zorn loses in Detroit, do you think he gets fired?
Yes.
I don't know.
T-Perk, if the Redskins lose in Detroit, they become the national laughingstock of the NFL. They become punchlines for all the late-night talk show hosts. Dan Snyder will not stand for that.
Well, Tony, if you fire Jim Zorn, who's your head coach?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's Dan Snyder, Gavir says.
I mean, does Vinny Serrato come down from the booth and coach the team?
No.
I mean, who else can you put in there?
I don't know.
Think Snyder makes that move.
I don't think he does either.
I don't think Snyder, because he has that reputation of being a guy who makes quick moves.
Right.
I think he actually sits back and lets Zorn die on the vine.
Because if Snyder fires Zorn, he's telling the rest of the city and the rest of the fans, I'm giving up at 1 and 2. And it's only 3 games.
In a way, that's right, because the season, then you've got an interim coach, and it's not going to go well. Let's talk about some of the individuals. Mike Sellers last week dropped a key pass.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, he's been a solid Redskin throughout his career. I mean, you're going to drop passes occasionally, but the thing about it is, we talked about this. They were in the red zone 15 plays. They let Jason Campbell throw the ball 3 times. It seems like Zorn doesn't have faith in some of the guys out of the backfield to catch the ball and his quarterback to throw the ball, because at one point we've heard the inside the NFL behind-the-scenes coverage. Zorn says, you know what, I'm going to run the football because the guys aren't catching it.
Look, I would never say this to his face because he is a beast, Mike Sellers, but here's when I want Mike Sellers to have the ball. When he's on the half-inch line and he needs to put his 270 pounds into the end zone, just fall in. He shouldn't be catching balls on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, but he can catch a ball. He just dropped it.
He can, but I don't want him in that position. I want him running the football, not catching it when I need 6 points.
Let's talk a little bit about Jason Campbell. You said maybe Zorn doesn't have the faith in him. Of course, he says he does, but it is questionable when you get down into the red zone and you're just plugging it away. You're not throwing the ball.
Well, I think Jason's been a little guilty of just trying so hard to please everyone. I think he needs to go out there. Look, you're talking about a world-class athlete, a guy that starred for years in the SEC, played as a freshman. He's played virtually his entire tenure here in the NFL. This guy's an amazing athlete. He just needs to rely on his instincts and let it fly. I think the biggest thing holding him back is trying to please too many people.
At some point, though, he has to put up or shut up. And the most disturbing thing to me about Jason Campbell is the touchdown total. Now, maybe that's part of the coaching. But, Jason, what's he got? 1 touchdown this year?
Jason Campbell has 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but it's 2 games.
How many did he have last year?
You know who
13, maybe.
All right.
No, it's seasons.
Tom Brady has 2 touchdowns. Does he stink?
He had 50 a couple seasons ago.
You always compare Tom Brady to Jason Campbell. It always comes back to that.
He's got 2.
All right.
Don't say
He's got
Tom Brady's a Hall of Famer.
He's got multiple Super Bowl rings.
This is what you get. You listen to the Sports Junkies 106.7 The Fan. The conversation will continue, and we want to check in with you guys again during the next hour, talk about what the Redskins need to do to beat the Lions. Obviously, they need to score more points, but we'll talk about that during the 7 o'clock hour. Thank you, gentlemen.
We
All
will
right,
fight more. I guarantee it, T-Perk. We will fight
Oh,
more
we
when
know
you come
that.
back.
We know that.
You know what I love about
He does
it?
want us to bring up Tom Brady.
You do.
These fellas are still friends.
Oh, yeah.
I know, way back.
As far as we know.
All right.
Watch the Redskins take on the Lions at Ford Field this Sunday right here on Fox 5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock.